To order, please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, budget presentation, Miss Arnold.
Yeah, in front of you guys have your packets for our 24-25 year budget plus a 4-year forecast through 28. The first page is just giving you our enrollment history and what we budgeted in the current coming year. Does anybody have any questions on enrollment? You can see enrollment did not, it went down a little from the prior year. And that just has to do, me and Michael did a roll up budget, so kindergarten went first, we did that down, added what we thought would be McCleary's stats up. Those are our number changes, what we thought would be going to Running Start, all of that. And this is where it came out. Any questions on enrollment? Okay, and the next page is our 4-year enrollment projections. And that's still following that same of roll up. Kindergarten is the unpredictable. So we kind of kept it, our tendency is to go like this every other year. And so we kind of did that. That's why you see the enrollment doing that.
Okay.
Next is our 10-year staffing history. Now, even though that we did have some changes in our staffing, our CERT you would think to go down. It did not go down because what we did was save in basic ed and put them in program money where we needed the savings. So our staffing only changed by 1 FTE. And this does include our admin staff, which there were no changes in that. We did do our vice principals again for the current coming year. Any questions on staffing? We'll go on to our general fund.
Yeah.
The next is the 4-year predictions for the general fund. You can see we're predicting I'm predicting a $5.5 million budget at the beginning of the year. And a lot of that is due to the savings from our ESSER money, which goes away going forward. So you're going to see decreases going forward. So you can see the 4-year, our predictions. And all of our expenditures are based on IPD and our revenues. So you can see we're going to have to still look at an adjustment if our enrollment doesn't change. Any questions on that?
So I do have a question. So you're projecting in 27, 28 that we will only be starting out with the fund balance
$559.
$550,000.
$500,000. Yes.
Which drastically puts us in a.
And knowing that we have 3 years to figure out what we're gonna do, so that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So whether it could be our enrollment starts climbing, it's gonna completely change it if it starts climbing. If it declines, then we know we're gonna even have worse. So we'll have to look at staffing at that time.
Because really, we need to make budget considerations, not this coming school year, obviously, because we already set, but
yeah,
for
quite a few out.
25-26 year.
We're looking
really
at
have to make
3 to 4 years down the road. Yeah.
You know, because this
Right.
doesn't start as horrific, but we
No.
end virtually
Yeah.
in that same spot. So it
Right.
really is impacting that school year.
The next is our fund balance. And so with that 5.5 million, 275,000 is carryover. That would have been lab CTE funding that we can carry over into the next year. So we've already received that money. So that money is already set to go back to those programs. Then our non-spendable of that is 119,000. That consists of what's in the print shop paper and what the co-op has in parts. Our unassigned fund balance is, we don't have any direction it's going right now. And then the new minimum fund balance of 6%, and that's 6% of our expenditures. So you can see the 1.9, which really is only less than a month for us. Our payroll is looking to run close to 2 million this year a month. Just payroll.
So you're just making a note, 1.9 is what it has to be our minimum, but really the 3.2 is what's technically the unaccounted for that covers the 1.9, right?
Well, yes,
So we have more than 1.9, we really have 3.2.
we have 5.5.
But that other part's already
This is the
accounted.
breakdown
Okay.
of where all of that 5.5 is.
Okay. Oh, those are actually two separate.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions on that page?
Do we know how much, for the co-op, do we know how much of their inventory is just like, is it an acceptable amount, or do we carry over things that are really expensive that we shouldn't? I mean, I'm just curious. I know, I'm not trying to be nitpicky about it. I'm just curious. Do we know that?
I do. Our inventory got quite high.
Mhm.
And so Caleb has depleted it down to a more manageable,
Okay.
what is more usable within a year
Mhm.
and looking, having 3 years of tires. You know,
Sure.
it's what is manageable that we need for that year to get through the year.
I
And
assume that you try to price it out too, like good deals and things that, on pricing the things that would go up. Okay.
that's-
I was just curious if, is it,
We're buying
being
our
like-
oil in bulk
Sure.
and grease and that stuff
okay,
to save money, so it makes our inventory seem higher, but that was the best way to do it.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
So Caleb's done very good at bringing that down.
Great.
And then we have our fund balance history, so you can see how our fund balance has gone over the last 10 years. And just know, our reason it's so high now is that SRB got to put a lot of stuff that would have gone to our normal fund balance into
Mhm.
ESSER, which was reimbursable. And it could drop anywhere between 5 and 5.5. It just depends. This is based on everybody maximizing what they encumbered for me. I have POs that shut down May 1st, encumber everything you're gonna use, and that's what I project our fund balance off of.
Great example is, we have, levy money goes into construction materials purchases. But we completed the bulk of our instructional materials through the ESSER fund,
Mhm.
which meant that instructional materials wasn't used.
Right.
Now, it does mean that Lisa has an uncounted budget support with that instructional money would have to come back out of instructional materials budget. So I think is a functioning example on what wasn't paid for that we paid for at a federal ESSER that enabled it to have that original pocket of money for construction materials to go in fund balance.
So through the ESSER, we were reimbursed once we started
Mhm.
using our fund balance. we were reimbursed.
Right.
Lisa, will you just clarify the 2 million that was transferred to capital projects? Is that reflected in the unassigned fund balance portion?
That was done, that's just to show why we had such a dip.
But it's not
And-
set aside someplace right here? Okay, so even
And
though,
I'll get to the capital projects fund so you can see the balance in there and what it's going to be doing.
okay,
That 2 million is pretty much depleted, I believe. I'm not gonna quote any numbers because I've had so.
you were just making a note of why there was the drop, but
Yeah,
that money may be longer.
because somebody out there is gonna go, well, why did their fund balance go from
Right.
here way down here?
Right.
And I want them to know, we transferred 2 million out of there to the capital projects, and that's why it drops so
Okay.
much. And because it's a 10-year history.
Right,
I
yeah,
wanna make
Mhm.
sure it's
yeah.
in that history.
Thank you.
So next is our expenditures. We did our fund balance history, expenditures by program. So you can see regular instruction, special ed, vocational ed, compensatory ed, other instructional programs, community service, and then our support services. If you don't know what each one of those are, let me know, I can tell you. You can see the amount between them for programs. and the percentage for each program. Next is by activity, so you can see on the next page. Any question by program?
Well, there's a few without anything in them.
It did not come through.
Well, special ed doesn't have anything, regular instruction doesn't.
Oh, it's in the orange, you can't see it, I
Oh.
apologize.
Oh, okay. I can see that there's something written in there.
I did not catch that, I apologize. I can give you those numbers, so Bernadette could buy them.
I'll catch you on it.
Okay. Next is by activity. To me, this is kind of the more important because you see where it's going
Mm-hmm.
to each of the teaching activities, teaching support, our food service, pupil transportation, our maintenance and operation, the co-op, other services, the principal's office, and then central administration. Just know central administration is gonna be all of our utilities, our contracts, all of that is under the central administration. Any questions on those?
What would be an example of teaching support?
Paraeducators?
Okay.
Any other on that one? So we're gonna break it down even farther on the next page. So you can see certificated salaries, classified salaries, employee benefits, supplies and materials, our purchase service, travel, and capital outlay. Capital outlay is a little bit bigger this year because we're looking at what we might have to do once we get the grant with soccer fields, if there's something we have to do there. Our field maintenance, I'm going to say, if there's anything we need to do there. Just, it's been set aside if needed. Any questions on those? And now we're to the capital project, so you can see what our, we have a total of 1.5 set up in capital projects. No, that's only if we bring in the 1.2 for the soccer fields. So if we get the soccer field grant 1.2, it'll go in the capital projects, but I had to put, so we could spend
Sure.
it if we got it. So no, 1.2 of that is not really there until we get that grant. And then here are the other things we're looking at doing with capital project. And then you can see where our revenues are coming from, just investment earnings in those in the soccer grant. And then I showed you what the expenditures were on the prior page. So Steph, you can see, we're gonna be down to about 1,000. Yeah,
Mhm.
1,400 when we're done with the year, if all of that goes through.
Of that 2 million that was kind of set aside and of that extra 1.2.
And remember, we just bought a portable
Mm-hmm.
and that was
I was just
500,000.
gonna ask, it has to be reflective of the portable as well. Okay,
So that is coming out of current year, not next year.
not next year. Okay.
Any questions on that? Our debt service, we have none. Nothing to report there.
Would some districts have debt?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Anybody who
have
has an
a
active
bond.
bond has debt.
Oh, the bond would.
The bond would be
debt.
your debt.
We don't have
service.
one of those.
What?
We don't have one of those.
We don't have a
We don't have
bond.
one
No,
of
we
those.
don't have a bond.
No, no.
Sure don't.
Okay, next is our transportation
transportation.
vehicle fund. This fund can only buy buses or do major repairs on buses. Can do nothing else. What we've been working on is the electric buses. We've signed up to do another one. There's 950,000 in expenditures where we should have enough money if Caleb needs another special ed bus or regular bus, plus for the electric bus we plan on getting through a grant, and part of that will be reimbursed. I think we were reimbursed 375,000 for the last one. So we're kind of raising our electric buses. Any questions on transportation? And you can see our 4-year projections. And we're gonna try to buy an electric bus at least every other year if the grant is out there. Otherwise, it's purchasing regular buses.
And we get a percentage back for the old bus, the buses that we take out of commission.
Depreciation is what funds this fund.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
And I think this current year, we're getting close to 300,000 back because of the electric bus.
Okay,
They bring in a lot higher depreciation.
that's great.
Any questions there? Our associated student body, this is what the kids vote. This is how much they put on their revenue side versus their expenditure side. They're all projections of what each club activity is turned in, what they think they're gonna raise and what they're gonna spend. So their fund balance kind of stays steady every year.
And do we ever have to be concerned that they are projecting spending more than they have?
No, because some of them already have money in their group. They might have.
They're saying they're gonna bring in 277. But, and that they're gonna
And
expend
that's
328,
Yeah,
but they might already have 100.
right.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
all right. I was like, that's not gonna work out very
Yeah,
well.
when
for them.
I was like, okay, we're already in the negative there. Okay.
So that all makes sense. Any
Yes.
questions?
I just didn't take into account for that.
And then our 4-year projection, I just leave them across the board expenditures and revenue. Cause they pretty much do the same thing every year.
Okay.
So that's where that one is. And the last thing is just a calendar showing you what the budget timeline is, so you know what's going on when during the year for budget. So if you'd like to be like Jamie and Michael and come in and start the budget process in March with me, I am happy to have you there. Any questions?
No, ma'am. It's a
Thank
lot
you,
of
Elma,
work.
for-
Thank you.
Making it nice and simple for those of us that are not budget experts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any public comment tonight? No?
You can
Oh.
close this one.
Mhm.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
It's been a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.